The Emerald Tablets of Thoth, there's actually two. So one is called the Emerald Tablets, plural, and the second one is called the Emerald Tablet, or the Tablet of Hermes. Now, both of these writings are actually real writings that really did exist. And one of them is located in the Cambridge Library right now.
And so were they in the form of like clay writings?
Well, they're in the form of these stone tablets etched into stone.
Okay.
And there's the one that's in the Cambridge. It was translated by a few famous people, Sir Isaac Newton, Roger Bacon, the Queen of Sheba, believe it or not. The Emerald Tablets, plural, have ended up in the hands of the Roman Catholic Church or in the Vatican in the archive. Yeah, I know.
Man, what's down there?
Oh, there's a lot down there. I saw this documentary about maybe 10, 15 years ago. They even have bones down there. That's crazy, like bones of what doesn't look like a normal hominid. So they got a lot of stuff going on in that archive, and a lot of books, and I think a lot of the books even from the burning of the Library of Alexandria, which I believe was a hoax. Not that it didn't happen, but the burning was a distraction because it was the largest knowledge heist in history. That's what the burning of Alexandria was, a knowledge heist. Stolen information, which ended up, most of it, in the Vatican archives.
So you think simultaneously while that burning was happening, there was...
Yeah, some books burned, but that's a front to cover up the theft of the knowledge, which is exactly what's going on. Because the Roman Catholic Church objective was to push their ideology on the world, and technology and advancements of those sorts of knowledge and philosophy outside of the dogma, where they wanted to ban it. And they wanted to get as much reach as they can, which is why you find a Catholic church on every corner of the planet. I was in the floating city in Cambodia a few months ago, and there's a Catholic floating church. I'm like, oh my goodness, are you kidding me? So they've put their reach out there, and they tried to hoard a lot of knowledge. Due to the papal inquisitions, during that time period of 700 years, they murdered and tortured over 80 million people. That makes Hitler look like an angel compared to what they did. 80 million people over 700 years, ordered by popes. And that was all about suppression and oppression of advanced thinking, philosophy, technology. Scientists had analyzed some of the technological advancements, even of the Arabs, and discovered that we would have been on the moon in the 1800s if it wasn't for the Inquisitions. That's incredible. So we've really been held back technologically and spiritually and emotionally and even consciously because of the religious dogma. In the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, they talk about creating solid matter from cymatic frequencies and photons. Now, that wasn't done until about 3-4 years ago. In a laboratory setting, they used cymatic frequencies and photons and finally manifested solid matter. I mean, the active denial system, that was only built about a decade ago. That's the beam that has the ability to freeze you in your tracks and repel you, make you feel like you're on fire, put voices in your head. They have a tool like that, a technology like that in the Emerald Tablets. So how in the world is this happening? Also in the Emerald Tablets, the ability to transfer your consciousness from one body to another. Now, the 2045 Project, 2045.com, Ray Kurzweil, they transferred a monkey's consciousness into a computer years ago. Now they're working on the next step, which I think it passed because 2015 was the next one, a human mind into a robot. And then by 2045, which is the ultimate goal, a human mind into another avatar.
These ancient tablets like the Atrahasis, Enuma Elish, the Gita, the overlap from the creation and stories of these, the mythic stories.
Yeah.
So what is the consilience between all of these mythical creation stories and tablets about our origins?
You find something interesting. The first thing you find is that our solar system is created through the way that astrophysics claims, through the collision and accretion disks and everything else. However, it talks about each planet forming and each planet gaining its own net, which means orbit in ancient texts, gaining its own orbit around the sun. And even collisions in the younger period of the solar system, collisions between planets and moons, and how that created debris, and how some of that one planet exploded through a collision and turned into the asteroid belt. How would they know this? Telescopes didn't exist yet, but they shouldn't have even known about an asteroid belt. There's not enough light to look up from Earth and say, oh, I can see the asteroid belt from here. So, but they knew all of it. They knew the shapes, the sizes, and the order of the planets long before modern technology ever even knew it. They claim in all civilizations and all these tablets, this information was brought to us from beings that came from heaven to earth. In Africa, they call them the Nitiru, the beings at a time of Zep Tepi that turned mud into a kingdom. And into Sumerian tablets, Enuma Elish and Epic of Atrahasis, they talk about these gods, the Anunnaki or the Annuna, the gods that came from heaven to earth, all right, and built this advanced civilization. No matter where you go, they all say the same thing, that people from another place came here and brought this wisdom and knowledge and imparted it on us. And they also say that they were seated on this planet. The indigenous tribes of the Americas, the Australian Aboriginals, I mean, they're saying that they were literally brought here. It's an incredible story. How can these disconnected continents and these disconnected cultures all have similar stories written across different mega eons of time? You got to say, wow, at some point there was a global civilization. That civilization, in my opinion, was the Atlantean civilization, that these Anunnaki people were advanced beings. And the ring city that sunk or was destroyed was only one capital of dozens that existed not only on Earth, but also on Mars, according to the Sumerian tablets.
Can you, in the most articulate way, describe what the conventional understanding of human civilization is in terms of like what's accepted versus, you know, what happened a couple 100,000 years ago with this creation story and how they obviously differ?
Sure. What's accepted by 85.2% of the planet is that about 6,000 years ago, the Earth was formed. Adam and Eve was created out of the dust, and that two people made it and created 8 billion people on the planet. Now, I don't know about you, but if you take two dogs and mate two dogs and mate the same two dogs over and over again with their puppies and mate those two puppies, third generation is not even going to live. Not enough genetic diversity. You can't take two humans and get 8 billion. We know this already because people who intermate within their family, they have birth defects. It's just a part of genetics. But that's the accepted theory, is that the sky daddy came down with his wand, he took some dirt, little spattle, turned mud into people, and then told these people, you now own this planet and go on, be fruitful and multiply. And that's what happened. From the scientific lens, we're talking about now, you know, they pushed it back to 12,000 years because they go back to Tepe now, right? Just after the last ice age. It goes back even further than that, but they're saying, okay, we'll give you 12,000 now. We're going to go back beyond the 5,000, 6,000 to 12,000, go back to Tepe, Karahan Tepe, Darren Kuyu. Those things really do age back that far. And so now they're saying that humans or Homo sapiens sapien might have been around for about 200,000 years. That's actually pretty accurate based on what I know genetically. And that just through natural evolution, millions of years prior, coming out of the trees and becoming well, it goes further back than that. If you want to go all the way back, it comes out of the water. We come out of the water, then we get legs, and then we go into the trees, and then we come down from the trees, and then we evolve into walking straight up and erect, and so forth and so on, become Homo erectus, and eventually, you know, we in some way, there's two different factions of us. We destroy Neanderthal, and then we end up becoming Homo sapiens sapien, and we take over the planet through natural evolution.